are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out?
Really slow smoke.
Can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. It is time to start another week, and it's another week where we are without spring sports because, another day we are out without spring sports because today it is, 20. Where are you? There you are. Ty kept trying to pop in. We were having trouble.
You weren't introducing me, so I guess I just have to crash the party now. I don't know what's going on
I
today.
was getting there. Gotta keep you on your toes.
We better introduce our next guest too.
We
Waiting
got
at
it, yeah. You let the show host kind of do his thing. Okay. Since you just what a Monday.
Jenna Smith, everybody. Garrettsville Garfield, Offensive Player of the Year.
I'm having trouble hearing you guys.
All right, 1 second. Let's see. Here. You hearing us now? Yep.
It's a little bit faint.
All right, let's see. Ant, do you have any suggestions?
It might be a connection issue. I don't know. I mean,
Let's try this real quick. No, I can only edit the mic settings and mic volume.
yeah, like our mic.
Yeah, I can't. Let's see here. Glitch Gremlin's not playing nice right off the bat on a Monday, Ant. Let's see. All right. I adjusted both the mic volumes. I raised them up. Let's see if that, I don't know if that helps. Are we, yeah, no?
How could you hear us?
No, I can barely hear you guys.
What? Let's see if we can get her to join with another thing. As we will, hold on. We will wait to get Jenna Smith on. Hold on. I'll try to get her on with that. But Anthony, in the meantime, we had a great all-star game over the past weekend. We had some great announcements over other award winners as far as Offensive Player of the Year, as well as Sixth Man, as well as MVPs as well that were announced too before the all-star game, which was really nice to see on our socials. And I mean, first and foremost, Anthony, just really nice to see the group turnout that we saw for both the girls and boys games.
Yeah, I mean, like the South Range was filled to the brim for both games, and I was telling people afterwards if the girls basketball fans wanted to stay for the boys game, like all of them wanted to stay, I don't know where we would put people at that point because everyone was flowing in. I don't think there was a seat in the house at South Range. I don't want to call it an official sellout, but there weren't too many seats left, either up top or down below on the floor.
Yeah, and when you have that top side too, getting seating filled, I mean, people were packing the house to get there, and it was really nice to see the turnout. It was really nice to see all these communities coming together and getting a chance to talk with so many different people that I never thought I'd see in the same building at the same time too. So it was really nice to go from one to another, just talking to different people as well. So let's try to see here as we can try to add Jenna Smith back on. How are we hearing us on this one?
Yeah, we hear you good.
I'm better, but I don't know what happened because I used my phone last time and it was fine. But It's okay now. I can hear you.
All right, she's hearing us, and now we should be able to go ahead with this. I mean, we have the Offensive Player of the Year, everyone, from Garrettsville, Garfield, Jenna Smith. Round of applause to all of you at home watching. So, Offensive Player of the Year, and I mean, when you put up 1,600 points in your career too, I think Offensive Player of the last 4 years too is a better name for it as well. Jenna, just talk to me a little bit about just your journey in basketball, and just from freshman to senior year, the work you've put in for this Garrettsville community, and when you started just having this kind of success, the work you had to keep going to keep getting better and better at the support.
I think freshman and sophomore year was kind of just like a test for me. I think I really didn't break out until my junior and senior year. But that just comes with like playing AAU, getting that experience, playing with the better athletes in our area, and as well as our own Grace and Sarah were also standouts. So being able to play with them too, as well as our other key role players, just made me into the player I am today. But yeah, I don't think I really broke through until junior, senior year. I think freshman and sophomore year, I just was kind of getting a feel for like the tempo of the game, because it was a lot different from middle school. But I think AAU really helped me, and with my experience with basketball and everything. So yeah.
Jenny, you come into this year, and not only do you eclipse that 1,500 mark, but then you kind of you'll up the ante a little bit, and you eclipse the 1,600 mark. Talk about this season as a whole. I know last year in your junior season, Garfield made a big run to regionals. You lose Grace Mills. A lot of people outside of the community probably thought, okay, Garfield's going to be a nice team next year, but I don't think they're going to be a regional team. And then you guys come out with the senior class and do everything that you did last year and more. Talk about this season as a whole from your perspective, and when you reflect on it, what are some of the things that come to your mind about this season?
I'm very proud of how this season went. I think coming into it, no one really expected us to get where we got. Of course, we had Grace last year, and she made such a big impact to our team the 3 years I got to play with her. But I think we learned how to play without her as well, and that doesn't take away from her as a player at all. I think she's one of the best players to ever walk through Garfield. So, yeah, I think we were just doubted a little bit coming into the season, but I think we really proved our point. I think this senior class, as well as my other teammates, kind of proved our point and just made our mark, I think, on the program, and just proved the people who doubted us wrong.
Reflect on these last 4 years with Coach Gilbert and how much of an impact he's had not only on your basketball career, but your personal life as well.
He's made a huge impact just from he's actually my neighbor. I don't know if many people know that, but he lives 2 doors down from me. So I've always kind of been around him. I'm sure he's seen me grew up a little bit. He was also my middle school social studies teacher. So we kind of got to get to know each other a little bit before playing in high school. But I was able to have him as an AAU coach as well. So that just kind of built our connection as well. But he always believed in us and me and my teammates. So he's a great coach. He's a great person. But yeah, he always kept that faith in all of us. So I think that really tells a lot about his character.
I mean, to go even deeper, how much of a relief or a added bonus was it for you to have someone as a coach that you were already so comfortable with? I mean, like you said, you're his neighbor. You had him in middle school as a teacher. You had him as an AAU coach. There was no questions on how comfortable you were going to be being coached by Aaron Gilbert. So what kind of blessing was that to have?
It was actually really, I think, crucial to my basketball career, just having someone who was always kind of there for me from the start. He's seen me play in middle school, so it's he kind of had an idea of the impact I was gonna have, I'm sure. But yeah, it's kind of just it is a blessing to have someone so I don't know, he just always believed in me, I feel and he's been along for the whole journey. So he's seen me from probably my worst to now my best. So yeah, it's really a blessing.
With you having such a close relationship with Coach Gilbert, what's something about him that maybe he doesn't show to the public all that much, or something you wouldn't necessarily think about Coach Gilbert unless you know him behind doors?
I feel like, well, we got him to dance a little bit after our district game, which is something that he did show a little bit in practices. And I feel like from an outside perspective, not many people would think that he would do that. But we got him to dance a little bit after the district championship game. So I think that just shows a little bit about his fun personality
I
that he
think
has sometimes. So
I think he mentioned that too to me on the other side of it too. And he was like, I don't
yeah,
dance. So for me to
no,
dance.
he doesn't dance, and that I think from an outside perspective, many people probably wouldn't expect that either. But he did do it, and we do have it on video, so
we do. Yeah, we do
tend to
have
get
the proof.
yeah, we tend to get a good laugh on it here and there, so it's fun. It's fun when
We
he does
asked.
it. For sure.
We asked him for the video. He refused to share it with us. So.
I'll send it. I'll send it.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Hold harmless now. not under the
He's
not under
getting
coach
exposed.
anymore.
Well, Jenna, you got a couple of months left as you're in your senior year at Garfield, and you're gonna be getting ready to go to Marietta to continue your basketball career. What kind of things do you kind of expect from the last couple of months of high school, and what kind of things do you kind of want to accomplish in your kind of life in Garfield before you kind of have to say goodbye to this school and the school system?
Just getting and cherishing every moment I have with the people at my school, because it's not like they're gonna be so close to me in the fall. So just cherishing all the moments, I think, and all the people around me before I don't see them every day. So that's definitely going to be a big difference. Coming from a small town, I feel like everyone just knows everyone. So I guess that's going to be nice going to Marietta because it is a smaller school. So I feel like it'll have kind of the same feel. So, but yeah, I mean, just getting to graduation, still staying in school and getting those good grades because those are always important to me. But yeah, just cherishing all the moments before I go off to college. So,
What's the excitement to nervous levels at right now for going into college level hoops and just going into college in general?
I'm super excited. The relationships I already have with my coaches is, I love it. Everyone there is so welcoming, so I'm really excited to form new relationships and friendships with my teammates and other people on campus. So I think that's what I'm most excited about, and just getting a new environment around newer people. But I think I'm just nervous kind of for the basketball aspect, just a little bit. But mainly excited. I'm not really a nervous person, so it's I'm more excited for sure.
It's not brand new news that you are committed to Marietta College. So take us through kind of that decision. What made Marietta stick in your mind as somewhere that you wanted to go, and what made it kind of the final landing spot? Because I know you probably had other colleges kind of courting your basketball ability.
Yeah, so the day I actually went on my visit there, the morning, I told my mom, I was like, I don't know how I feel about going to the school. It wasn't my top school at the moment at all. So going into it, I was kind of I don't want, I don't think it's kind of where I'm leaning towards. So I went on the visit and I got in the car and I told my mom, I was like, that's exactly where I want to be, because I don't know. I think the coaches had a lot to do with it. Just how welcoming the environment is, the staff, when I met them, when I went on my visit, they were so welcoming and so nice. And I don't know, and just learning more about their basketball program and how they do things, I think that really stood out to me as well. And just their work ethic as a program is insane. So I think that really set the deal for me, so here I am.
Reflecting on your Garfield career, what are some of your favorite accomplishments or goals that you have accomplished it there, and what are some more future goals now for the college level ranks that you hope to accomplish?
I could definitely say going into my freshman year, I did not expect to even hit 1,000 point. That wasn't even in the back of my mind, actually. It just seemed like such a huge goal, and I've seen other players get it. So I always thought it was kind of a far goal, and it kind of be hard to reach. But once I obviously got a little bit older, I was like, okay, maybe this is like reachable. So I think just getting my 1,000th was definitely my biggest accomplishment in my basketball career. But like then I discovered after this season that I hit 1,000 rebounds too. So I think that was kind of insane too because I had no idea about that. So it was nice. But going into the college, I don't really know my like specific role yet, but I just know that I'm sure it has a lot to do with like me offensively, but I also kind of want to improve my defense. I think going into college and just like provide that as well, and not only be seen as like an offensive threat, but like also like a defensive threat. So
You're getting a lot of love in the comments from people that thank you for representing Portage
I didn't
County.
even see them. Oh, no.
Talk about what it means to have this Garfield community behind you and the support they've had for you for the last 4 years, and how much not just your family, but the fans at Garfield that have your back mean to you, and how much they have meant to you going through your basketball career.
It means a ton, and I think I kind of didn't like I don't know. I just now noticed how I've always noticed that people were there to support me, but like after the season especially, I really reflected on like how many people actually pay attention to the girls basketball like community around here, and to have everyone just be so supportive not only of me but like also my team and like other successful teams and athletes in the area. It's incredible to actually see because I feel like women's basketball is actually looked a little bit down upon. But it means a ton to me. I mean, seeing everyone, I mean, on social media, just congratulating me or like, you know, just showing their support. I mean, it means a ton. And I think that having that support from my community took part in not only my success, but my team's success as well this season, just having our backs and stuff. So.
To kind of put yourself in a limelight, a spotlight, and kind of pat yourself on the back a little bit. Talk about all those behind the scenes, all that hard work, all the practice time, all the shots that have to go up that you had to put into your game that people don't necessarily see between game to game and between season to season. What it takes and what goes into each game for Jenna Smith.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't actually realize how much work it is and like how much time you actually have to put into it, because basketball is like kind of the sports like you set the ball down for a week and you lose your shot. Like you gotta stick with it or else you kind of get out of rhythm. So I mean, it sucks not having the AAU season this like right now because like usually I would be in AAU season, so it kind of sucks not being able to like play in that, but I'm still trying to stay connected with my AAU program and still going to those open gyms here soon. But I don't think people actually realize like how often that like us athletes actually have to like put in the work away from our team and away from like, you know, the games. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's worth it.
Oh, you mean you don't just show up to the gym and automatically that good?
No, definitely took a lot more work than that. I think that the help from my teammates also, because I wouldn't be the athlete I am without everyone, you know, going up against those good athletes in practice. And like coming into high school, I was able to like literally as an 8th grader to play against like our senior class in open gyms over the summer. So like that just like right there, I feel like gave me a lot of experience going into high school. So.
Jenna, we've loved covering you and the whole Garfield girls basketball team all year. Our first year with Garfield, you guys made it incredibly awesome. Coach Gilbert, everyone, we love seeing Sarah in the All-Star game on Saturday. So thank you for the time. Thank you for an amazing season and giving us a good show. We're proud to call you one of our YSN athletes and the YSN Offensive Player of the Year. I'll put it up one more time for the fans back home. Offensive Player of the Year for Garfield. Thank you so much for the time again, and we'll look forward to talking again real soon.
Thank you so much for all the coverage. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jenna Smith, the YSN Offensive Player of the Year, joining us live on Running Point to kick off the show. There were a couple of Grits gremlins, but we kicked them in the butt and
Yeah.
got this Monday started off right.
Yep. Took care of those and able to get a nice interview off with the offensive player of the year on the girls' side and Jenna Smith, and well deserving. When you score over 1,600 points in a career, you're doing something right. We all know how hard it is to eclipse 1,000. So when you get up over the 1,500 and 1,600 point threshold, it's something. And yeah, Marietta College commit, so you'll be seeing her at the next level too. Excited to see how far she can go in the sport of basketball too, and how she makes the transition to the next level. And I think we are all going to be excited to see what she's able to do with Marietta College.
I full screen you. I'm gonna pull up the season stats so we can go over.
Yeah,
I want to give a shout out to the season
over
stats.
20 points per game. I think she was either that or right under it. I mean, she was a consistent scorer. The couple times that I've seen her, I mean, what she's able to do from the paint, the entire paint, and I mean like shoulders to blocks, I mean owns the paint, and then she's able to extend those shots too from mid range, and she can nail down threes too. And I mean, with her height that she brings to the game, it's so hard to stop because she plays like a big. She has the makeup and the build of a big, but she can shoot like a guard, and just a nightmare for teams to match up with her.
All right, Jenna Smith averaged a double-double, 20.2 points per game, and 12.1 rebounds per game.
20 and 12 is phenomenal numbers, and I mean you can see why she's going to the next level.
And when you put this, like, I want to look at total points this season. So let's just go into
let's be honest too. 20 points per game at the high school level, that's like, if you go to like pro levels at 12-minute quarters, that's like probably closer to like 29, 30 points per game at like that level. Like
524 points this year. So she came in with just over 1,000. She got 1,000 her junior season. Then she went over 1,600 this year with the 524 added from this year. So
plus all those rebounds too.
Yeah, let's total rebounds. Let's see.
She has over 1,000, right? She said over 1,000, right?
I think that was career rebounds over 1,000. 316 this year.
But I think career, she's 1,000 rebounder and a 1,500 point scorer.
Look at this tie. Defensive rebounds 191, offensive rebounds 127. So it's not like she does all of her work on the defensive glass. I mean, that's pretty split even.
I mean, when you get second chance points too, and like I said, she plays like a big, but has the shooting abilities of a guard. She's so quick at her position too. It makes it so difficult to try to game plan for.
A lot of good scores on Ysn this year, and Jenna Smith highlighted all of them with the Offensive Player of the Year. We once again thank her for her time and the amazing show that her and her teammates put on all season. We loved covering Garfield girls basketball, boys basketball. We can't wait to cover Garfield baseball and softball, but that takes us right to our next point, which is spring sports is going to have to wait one more day at least because it's cold outside.
Yeah, I think Ysn's getting so big in the area that we're starting to dictate the weather pattern, because it seemed like for our All-Star game, we just needed to have winter weather. They're like, if you're going to have one last basketball game, we need to give you the correct weather for it. We can't have baseball, softball going on today. Like, clear everything out. This is the last day of basketball.
But Saturday was absolute basketball weather too. Like driving home from South Range, it's like ice on your windshield, and that's straight up. Oh, we're in the middle of winter. It's basketball season. We're just going from a basketball game. We did it to ourselves, I guess.
We made the deal to get the winter weather for basketball day, and I don't know what happened too. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know why it's bled over into Monday right now. But hopefully this weather warms up a bit. I mean, I'm all right with baseball in the cold, but can we just clear up some of the snow, please?
Hopefully tomorrow it's going to be cold, but it might be warm enough to play. So we're hoping for tomorrow. The rest of the week kind of looks sketchy too. Wednesday warmer, but there's rain in the forecast. So we're just gonna buckle down, and if Mother Nature lets us play, we're gonna go out there. We're gonna support all these wonderful athletes and get as many games up as possible. But right now we are on hold. All the softball, baseball games that were scheduled for today, I believe, have been postponed. for later dates. Usually, if it's a league game today, if your team is playing a league game, you can bet that it's moved to Wednesday because Wednesday is set apart for league makeup days. But check your schedules. We'll try to update the new schedules as quickly as we can do it too. But for the most part, if your team was playing a league game today, it'll probably be on Wednesday because usually Wednesdays are the makeup days set aside for the league play. So
Yeah, and we'll probably see a lot of them coming up this Wednesday. And I mean, if we keep having weather like this, the end of the season's gonna get real crazy, and baseball's gonna be madhouse by May.
we are going to get games in, guys. You just got to be patient. I know it's hard. You're chopping in the bit. It was hard for me to just kind of look at this week's forecast and go, come on. I was frustrated. I'm ready for spring sports. I know Ty's ready for spring sports. We're all ready for baseball, softball. But it will happen. We are going to get games in. We just got to kind of dredge through Mother Nature and her fickle ways, and we'll get games in. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait till the start of baseball season. A lot of great matchups, a lot of great pitching in the area, too, that we're going to see during this opening weekend. It's going to be exciting. And if you haven't seen some of these arms yet, too, that are going into their senior year, telling you, folks, you want to get out there and see them while they're still close and an easy drive for you to see right now, because some of these guys, and a lot of these guys, I should say, are going to be playing at the next level. And it's a lot further of a drive and a little bit more money you're going to have to spend to see them. So
Right.
see them while you have the chance right now.
Yeah, the only hope you have is if they're playing for YSU, then you can still see them up in Niles at Eastwood Field. If not, then you're going to be driving a long way to see these players if you don't take advantage and see them now.
Get out there, bundle up too.
I'm bundled up and I'm in my own house. My room is cold. I'm in a hoodie. I wanted to do the whole show like this. And just
but if you did that, you'd be like a chameleon. You just blend in with the walls and everything.
This is gray. What are you talking about? This is not a blue hoodie. I don't want to hear any of that malarkey. I have a fire on my lap and I'm sitting here like this. Welcome to Running Point, with the frozen tundra of Northeast.
Got to be like a fire in a barrel. That's what you need. Like the fire coming out of like a barrel. You're sitting in front of it.
Just accidentally knocked the headphone out of my ear. That's what I get.
That is what you get, Ant.
Goof it off. No, but speaking of excellent players on the softball baseball field, we're gonna have Maddie Taylor from Austintown Fitch on at 1 o'clock to talk about the perspectives of her senior season, what she expects from it. Maddie is one of the power hitters of that lineup, is going to bring a lot of thump to that Austintown Fitch bats, and she's got a heck of a team around her as well.
Yeah, and I mean, looking forward to seeing some bombs, honestly. I mean, with the power I was seeing from the Falcons last year, I'm excited to see it carry into this season. I mean, let's hope. Hey, maybe some opening day bombs. It's gonna be cold, so you're gonna need to put a little bit
really crank it.
Extra pump in those bats.
That's the good thing about Fitch. They're going to have that turf field, so the snow that happened over the weekend doesn't bother them one bit. They're going to have that field ready as soon as they get the go-ahead. Hopefully tomorrow. If they get the go-ahead, they'll be good to go. I think tomorrow's supposed to be their season opener, so.
Yeah, we'll obviously stay tuned with them too and see if we get any updates. But yeah, the benefit of having those turf fields are you're able to play in a little bit more adverse weather conditions too from day to day, and rainouts aren't necessarily as big of a concern when you have turf field, just because the draining system and the way you could get water off the field in a matter of no time too. It could rain, and 2 hours later you could realistically play a ball game on that field.
I feel bad for like the baseball fields that have and softball fields. For a matter of fact, they have the bad luck of being like on a hill or on the bottom of a hill, because you get a little bit of rain.
I remember
it's over.
Rocky Ridge and Mill Creek, that baseball field is a nightmare because you have that it's literally like a hill right on that third base side. It's a huge hill where you're just getting water runoff. So it's terrible. Credit though too, because there's not a whole lot of fields that a lot of fields that are adopting this turf, but I give credit to Bob Steen keeping it all grass. They get the turf guys on there real quickly too.
Yeah, they have the best field crew in Northeast Ohio. So
Shout out Steve Leslie. Steve Leslie does a great job up there as well too, up at Scene, and he does a great job with the crew, and the crew you mentioned too, on the on-field crew. They do a great job of getting those fields ready, prepared between game to game, and there's so many games that go on at Bob Steen Park too, so they're constantly working, and they do a phenomenal job.
Scene Park is just anxiously awaiting the start of baseball season, and they can get it, Chris, and we're waiting because remember we haven't been there since when did Class B end? Late July.
Yeah.
So I know you and DJ and some of the guys that do games down there. Alec is supposed to be doing quite a few games down there because he covers Cardinal Mooney. They're all itching to get back to that Scene Park press box.
Yeah, Mooney's gonna be down there. Struthers goes down there. I think
Lowville has their home games there.
Ursuline goes there.
Ursuline.
There's a lot of teams that go through Bob Steen Park, and it's a premier ballpark for the area. It really is.
I know it reminds me kind of Mill Creek when you're talking about golf season, because so many teams call Mill Creek Golf Course their home. It's kind of like that. You have multiple teams that just call Scene Park their home field because it's just that far above what anything that you could actually build at your school's facility.
Yeah, there's something magical about walking into that three field complex there, and just walking around and seeing baseball going on all three fields. 6 teams playing on 3 different fields, while there's 6 more teams waiting to play next game up. It's a magical night if you're a baseball fan.
Do you think there were there was a long wait list for teams that wanted to make that their home field?
Oh, I'm sure. A lot of these teams are probably never giving it up too, and they do a great job. And it's the school support of Bob Steen Park too that also helps Bob Steen Park, I think, get the workers that they do, because a lot of them are those Struthers and Lowville graduates and Mooney and Ursuline graduates that you see down there helping out too, or former players that are down there helping out too. So by being able to keep those facilities up for the schools give it back too by making sure that they carry on that tradition and help Scene Park stay up and keep it at the level of what it is.
Once again, we'll be back there very soon. You just got to be a little bit patient with Mother Nature. Today, everything has been canceled. We'll go through the games that were supposed to be today that are not happening today. For everyone's sake, let's go with Monday, March 28th. We'll start with baseball here. The games that were scheduled to be on today. United at Lisbon, that's been postponed. Springfield at Lowville, that's been postponed. Girard at Niles, that's been postponed. You look at Struthers at Lakeview, has been postponed. Boardman at Howland has been postponed. Liberty at East has been postponed. Matthews at Brookfield has been postponed. Maplewood at Badger, postponed. Heartland Christian at Cheney has been postponed. And East Liverpool at Edison has been postponed. For softball, you have Struthers at Lakeview, that's postponed. Boardman and Howland, a lot of these same matchups, 2 teams were traveling together. So Boardman and Howland has been postponed. Maplewood at Badger has been postponed. Western Reserve at Jackson Milton, the game that all of us were looking forward to. Going to have to wait one more day. That has been postponed. United at Lisbon has been postponed. Girard at Niles, that one's postponed. Salem at Crestview is postponed. Springfield at Lowville has been postponed. You always laugh, and it throws me. You got to stop.
You just go. I'm just letting you go, man. I'm rolling.
You got to stop doing that. It makes me self-conscious. I don't know what you're laughing at. Springfield at Lowville has been postponed. East Liverpool and Edison has been postponed, and Liberty at East has been postponed. So there was a lot to take in, but all of those graphics have been put up on our social. So if you're interested in a game and you just missed my rundown, head over to Ysn's Instagram, Ysn's Twitter, Ysn's Facebook, and you can find the graphics that say this game is postponed. This game is postponed. If you're sick of me saying postponed, I actually had a challenge.
Cut out the clip of Anthony telling it and just post it on the social.
I actually had a challenge.
Anthony, I think I'm going to cut out the clip of you just giving
before the show. Ty told me that I probably wouldn't be able to say postponed 20 times in a broadcast, and I just have a checklist over here.
Just
Naturally.
checking it off.
So
Now we got to make the clip, and we'll just post that up for everyone to say. Here's the list of postponements today. And it's just a 2-minute clip.
I wish if we were gonna do that, I wish I would have known, because then I would have like
It'll
gone-
save you graphics.
I would have done like my news voice and welcome to YSN's schedule
Staring
update.
into the camera.
YSN's schedule update.
Mhm.
These are the games that have been postponed for tonight. I get my the radio talk show that always has to do like the school cancellations in the morning. Like they have that different voice they do for that.
Yeah. Sean Pompelia giving you some love. We still got to talk about this. We briefly kind of mentioned the All-Star game, but we will be we could in-depth talk about that a little bit too. It was a phenomenal night. And great job on the mics on the girls game. I was listening during the broadcast, and I went back and listened some more too.
The girls gave us a great show. One one credit goes to that. 2 credit goes to Scotty Mincher because he lit it on fire. And when you have a commentator like that that's next to you, it doesn't make it hard to do a game, because especially, I mean, I felt like an all-star game was right in Scotty's wheelhouse because he's so conversational. And an all-star game broadcast is more of a conversation than it is straight up calling the game. So we had a lot of fun. The girls put on a great show. It went into overtime, quote unquote, which was kind of like a hockey or soccer shootout overtime, except instead of kicking into a goal, we shot half court shots. And of course, the key, Zeta Creaky, drilled the half court shot to end the game. Called game. That was it. No chance at a rebuttal. It's over. That's it. Mic drop. Zeta Creaky walks off the floor with the sunglasses on. And that was her second half court shot of the game, too.
She's been coined the nickname "the Key" for a reason, because she has a way of unlocking certain defenses. First one to hit the 5-point shot, last one to hit the 5-point shot in that game too, and end the whole thing. 57-52, and I mean, really just nice too. And I mean, talking with her parents there, and just being that I called the Fitch games this season. Of course, it was almost surreal, because you cover these girls and you cover these boys, and you see all these sports, and you see some of them multiple sport athletes, but you've seen them for multiple years. And with Zeta's case, I've seen her when playing freshman as JV, getting into varsity a little bit, and just seeing that growth and just seeing it. It's surreal too. It's just a proud moment you feel for these kids too. And I think we kind of experience that with all the kids too, but especially the ones that we kind of are a little bit closer with, because we cover them all season long. But it was just cool seeing them all on the court too. And it's just, you can't help but feel proud for these kids, and just seeing how far they've grown, because we've seen most of them, Anthony, come up since they were freshmen too. So
seeing Alyssa Pompelia and Alyssa Dill on the same team was just absolutely worth every penny that you could have paid for that game, because that was like the dream. Like, okay, those two have been going at each other for the last 4 years. Let's put them on the same team and see how they do. And it wasn't even like we didn't plan that. It was luck of the draw, as everyone knows on our draft. But it was awesome. And then when, like, later in the game, when they put Mackenzie Riccatelli in that rotation too, so Riccatelli, Dill, and Pompelia were all on the same team on the floor at the same time. Oh, that's just great basketball. That's great basketball.
It was just really fun to see all these names on the court at the same time too, and just seeing these the skill of some of these shooters. It was my first time, I think, ever seeing Jenna McClish play too, and I will say, like, her personality.
Did she have fun or what?
Yeah,
like,
her personality is off the hook as far as
I couldn't appreciate it as much as I probably would have if I was just watching, because I was trying to call the game and have conversations and bring up stuff, so I couldn't really focus on what Jenna McClish was doing or what she was like, how she was acting on the floor. But from what I've been told by everyone after the game, and from some of the things I saw, like, Jenna McClish just like let it all out and just put on a show.
Made the show. Like, she was an entertainer in the middle. Like, I found myself just gravitating to watching what Jenna was doing.
I was talking to her after, and she goes, "Well, I had to do something. There were times when the crowd got quiet or something. Like, I got to do something."
She was just jacking up 5-point shots. She hit the one too. I was really hoping she would.
I love that she missed the ones that were wide open, and the one with someone in her face, she drilled.
Yeah. She gave it the fist pump too, like the old Tiger Woods fist pump, and I loved it.
Sarah,
loved it.
did you see Coach Hamilton doing this?
Yeah.
We're not worthy.
The boys' game was wild towards
Nah,
the end.
the boys' game is like it's just straight up pageantry. It's what you love. They're trying to do flashy dunks. They're trying to alley
They
oop
were
each
having
other.
fun. They were having fun. One of my favorite moments was like towards the end when the game was already decided, it wasn't close. I think like I don't know if it was. I think it was Great House that passed it to Wary, and they were on different teams, and Wary kicked it to the corner to someone back on the opposite team. I called it a turncoat, I think, during the
I'll
broadcast.
help you out. It was late in the game. I think it was Da Vinci McDowell to I want to say it was to Gurley. It was someone. It was to his own team. The bounce alley oop in transition.
Oh
Did you catch
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Where they bounced it, and I was like, ah, yeah.
That was really cool. I
And
loved
then-
too, towards the end, Da Vinci McDowell came off the bench too. There was 6 guys only came off the bench and called
got it.
for it in the last shot. It was a
Adam
great
Wary
night.
hit a couple of like unbelievably deep threes that were like, oh my gosh. This
Jackson Hendershot holds the record for 2 5-pointers in a game. Of
Right.
course he does. Like, of course, Mr. Shot comes in and nails 2 5-pointers.
Remember, we were talking on the draft in the All-Star game that happened. I think there was a Booba Classic. He went 8 for 9 from 3 in that All-Star game.
He's
So
ridiculous. He's close to automatic from distance shots. It's kind of ridiculous to just see his accuracy on full display like that.
Westminster got a good one, that's for sure.
I mean, no doubt. From West Branch to Westminster. I mean, stay west, young man. It seems like that's where the compass is pointing you for life, and you're nailing it down. If you continue what you did at West Branch, your career is going to be just fine.
And past all the game, and this is something that kind of gets into the serious mode for the All-Star game, we were able to raise $4,157 for Purple Cat and Golden String. We were able to have a couple of members of Purple Cat there, along with Jimmy Sutman, who was our wonderful DJ throughout the contest. Having music play throughout the game was awesome. He did a great job with his DJing, but then having Radar there, who's been, I guess you could call him a contributor. He always comments on our stuff, and he's always adding great knowledge to our shows, especially the Audible Call and in the post game show on football nights. And then obviously having Scotty there all night, calling the game with me, and then behind the boys bench for the boys game. That was what it was all about, getting money for them and all the stuff that Jimmy Sutman does for people that are battling with disabilities and the Purple Cat and the Golden String. And $4,157 surpassed everyone's expectation in that night. And it's all thanks to the fans. I mean, we did nothing. We just kind of showed up. Ysn showed up and kind of got these people together. But that money is all about the fans showing up, the fans putting, buying shirts, buying hats, buying the 50-50.
It was
whatever it may be.
Perfect way to sum it all up. It was what DJ I think posted too. Field of Dreams quote. If you build it, they will come. And I mean, we kind of built it. The kind of shell was there, but it was the people. It was the fans. It was the supporters of these kids, schools, and communities. Like I say at the end of every broadcast, that make the difference in what makes YSN. I mean, they're the biggest contributors. They're the biggest the biggest factors, I should say, to the whole thing. And $4,000 couldn't have been done without all of them coming in. And
that's why I felt kind of silly when people after the game or during the boys' game, when I was down the floor, people were telling me, "You guys put on a great show tonight," and it was like, "Thank you," but really, like the kids are putting on the show, the communities are putting on the show. All we did is kind of like structure it.
We invited them. We're glad you guys came too. Like we're glad
like we set up a house party and just hoped people would come, and then they made the party. We didn't make the party. Like
it's you giving us your time that made the party.
We didn't make that game like the event and the spectacle that it was. Everyone that came and all the players that participated did that. We just kind of sat back, and I know DJ had a great time just kind of mingling with everybody. I was glad that we had people that called the games. Not saying that DJ doesn't like doing that, because DJ loves calling games, but to be able to see DJ in his own element and kind of MC when we had to stop the games for stuff and mingle with people and probably meet some people that he probably hadn't met yet from these communities. That was big too. I thought that was really important to have some of our guys that are so busy calling games all season to just kind of mingle with the community a little bit. That was another part of this game that I really, really enjoyed.
Packed house too, and a lot of people that came for the girls' game stayed for the boys' game too.
That's what I was saying. Like, I was sitting there at the girls' game at the end of it, and I was like, "What if these people want to stay? Where do we put the boys?" You know,
The up top was getting packed. Like, we had up top at South Range, like behind the basket, seats were getting packed. There was standing room, like people standing, like it was.
Yeah, and it like the way that's set up. If you
The
stand in the railing,
cafeteria
you're
had
blocking
people in
the
it.
sight of the first like 3 rows behind you. So, the standing room only. That's what it was. There were a lot of people watching from the baseline. So what a great night. Just to put a nice little bow on our All-Star game talk. Great night. Both games went off without a hitch. Most importantly, no one got hurt. That's what we love to see. Fun, healthiness. And it was a great way to kind of say goodbye to the basketball season.
And emotionally too, it was the last time a lot of these parents and communities got to see some of their seniors in their basketball uniforms too of their schools. The last time that they got to kind of don that uni, and I mean it was really cool to see all those jerseys in one spot.
Let me say one more thing. I don't know if it was like straight up DJ's idea to do this or if it was a conversation at the office. Full disclosure, me and Ty haven't been I haven't been in the office. Ty's haven't been in the office in a while, but I haven't been in the office either because we're renovating. So a little bit disjointed with some of the stuff. But I don't know if it was DJ's decision or if it was a kind of conversation at HQ the week before. But having autograph sessions and getting the chance to, I saw so many young kids get autographs from girls and boys in this game, whether it be in the warm-ups or during the game or even after the game in that photo booth section. I mean, that's awesome because we see so many of these players that we interview say that they looked up to the varsity players when they were in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but they probably didn't get a chance to kind of get that autograph or get that picture because, no one wants to do that after a hard-fought actual, high school game when their emotions running high after a loss or a win. So to be able to have that moment for the future of these communities and the future of these programs, that was the cherry on the pie. Cherry on the pie.
Cherry on the what?
No one says that.
What?
Cherry on the cake.
Cherry on the Sunday? The Sunday, Ant?
I don't know. I think my brain wanted icing on the cake, but my brain said cherry, and I just I bailed real quick on
cherry on the pie.
Cherry on the pie.
What? I don't.
Welcome to Running Point. You never know what you're gonna get. Anthony's mind drifts sometimes. That's just how it goes.
That's what I'm saying. This right here.
What?
She's my cherry pie. Is that what you were going for, Ant? Like, I don't know.
I told you what I was going for. Like, it was supposed to be icing on the cake, but for some reason, instead of icing,
you went cherry on the pie.
My brain said cherry, and then in my brain, cherry on the cake didn't sound right, so I went cherry on the pie, and that's how it happened.
You said cherry on the pie first swing.
That's my post game press conference. That's how it went. That's how it went down, and we'll move on. We'll try again tomorrow.
You had 3 swings. The first 2 were complete misses, and I gave you a toss underhand ball with cherry on the Sunday for you to hit out of the park with that.
I've never heard cherry on a Sunday though. Like, oh man, that's a cherry on a Sunday.
What? You've never heard of cherry? Okay.
No, I have heard of having a cherry on a Sunday, but I've never heard of someone saying that as
cherry on the Sunday.
I said, oh man, that was a cherry on the Sunday right there.
Before we get into ice cream talk, because we know we could get into a tangent.
My mind was going for icing on the cake. It didn't happen, and we'll try again tomorrow. What can we say?
You went for cherry on the pie. This is it. Gonna be a shirt. Needs to be a shirt. Cherry on the pie? Question mark. And then Anthony Hartwig, YSN on the back. That's it. There it is. You derailed it. Cherry on the pie.
Running Point shirts. All the anthems.
There you go. Just different quotes. But no, I mean, great all-star game all around. And it was the the cherry on the sundae of the basketball season to kind of culminate with all those players coming together. And it was a phenomenal time, and it was my first All-Star experience, and one I'll never forget. And I'm excited to have more in the future. But I mean, for now, we say goodbye to basketball season, and hopefully we'll say goodbye to this weather so we can say hello to spring sports and the baseball softball season.
Yeah, we're hoping, like you said, hopefully tomorrow. We're keeping our eyes looked on tomorrow, and definitely this week. We're going to be out on a softball baseball field very soon.
Well, I might be an idiot then too, and we might both be wrong then, because it's the cherry on top. It's not a sundae. It's not a dessert, and it's just the cherry on top. It's on top of something. It's not a dessert. It's not a pie. It's not a
cherry on top. Oh, yeah, I guess
just on top.
That sounds a lot more familiar than cherry on pie or cherry on a sundae.
That's
pie. Cherry on top.
Cherry on pie makes no sense.
For some reason, maybe that's why my brain said cherry when I was going for icing. I don't know.
Who knows? As we wait patiently, we're about 10 minutes away from having Maddie Taylor from Fitch Softball on, and
back on trail.
Yeah, we're excited to be talking with her too, to kind of get a little bit of softball talk too, as well as we can actually look at some of these conferences too. Since there's no baseball going on today, we could kind of look at maybe the season ahead for some of these conferences and see some of these teams that are going to be competing for conferences, some of the ones that are a little bit more wide open, and just kind of offer our 2 cents worth a grain of salt opinions on the matters as well too, as far as where some of these teams are going to be as far as their conferences are concerned.
We're hopefully going to go a little bit deeper in that conversation on Wednesday. Right now, we're scheduled to have Steve Leslie on the show Wednesday at 1:30 to give us kind of a broad strokes, very big picture preview of the baseball season in the area, because like we said before, Steve Leslie knows a lot about area baseball.
Tony, I don't want to hold on. I'll get you all set up here. I don't want to. There we go. That's a little bit better. Get that yellow off of your name. I know it doesn't look right. Tony Kugritz, though, giving some love for the All-Star game on Saturday too. Big supporter. You know him real well too.
Tony, it wouldn't be a special night unless you were in the stands and telling everybody that I picked a different team, because that's what he always does.
He picked against Connie's team. Whoever Connie was playing for.
We can rewind the tape. I picked the home team to win that game, and I was wrong again.
Yep, I won that one.
We split the All-Star night, by the way.
We did. You did win the boys one. You did win the boys one. That was fun though. That was a great night, and really,
you've been a great support all 4 years of Connie's career. We couldn't thank you enough. We love you, buddy, and we hope that you keep on supporting YSN, and we keep seeing you at basketball games in the future. And you know that I'll see you for softball, because Connie's going to be a good outfielder for that Poland softball team.
Yeah, I got to see Poland last year too, and they were a great team last year. I expect nothing but the same this year too.
Katie McDonald in the circle brings velocity.
What is that park that they play in?
It's called North Elementary. It's like right down the street from Poland High School.
That's pretty nice facilities down there.
Pretty nice press box. It's nice to call games in. It's nice and elevated. You see the whole field. You're not too far back. But they are in plans, I believe. I believe they're getting a new baseball softball facility, hopefully set up for next year for that team.
And that'll be high school. That would be really cool too. But I mean, those are still nice facilities too. I love that park.
My request is to just take that press box from North Elementary, and pick it up and move it to Poland. If you build a new facility, put it there, because
you just see 4 forklifts in conjunction.
I love that press box. It's like the perfect height for me. I don't have to climb up too many stairs to get to it, but it's elevated enough where you can see the whole field from it. It's like the perfect setup.
I see Anthony in his chair leading 4 forklifts carrying this press box down the road of Poland, Ohio, going to Poland High School just so Anthony could have this press box. Anthony organizes the movement.
It's 4 stairs high. It's perfect. Like, I can climb up 4 stairs.
Like North Elementary,
make me climb up other press boxes. Maybe climb up like a fortress of stairs.
Jeez, oh man. North Elementary, your press box is in danger. Anthony Harper is looking for it.
Taking it.
Have you seen this man? Press box thief plastered all over Poland. Just your face. Oh my goodness. Seen in the act of the crime, stealing the press box from Poland. Oh man. It's gonna be exciting.
You kill me.
With some of these guys, though, Alec Caberna is going to be spoiled because he's going to have that heated press box for.
Field of Dreams press box is pretty cool.
Yeah, Field of Dreams is nice too.
I don't have to go up any stairs for that one though.
The heated ones, the heated press boxes are really, really nice for baseball season, especially beginning of the season. I mean, even in the summer, they're nice because, like, when it's 95 and you're sitting in like a cool 72. It's like Field of Dreams is beautiful. Scene Parks is beautiful. Scene 1 is beautiful.
Yeah. That's a no-brainer right there.
You're in the elements though for Scene 2 and 3. Scene 1, you're good. But
if it's raining, you're undercover at least.
Yeah, you are undercover, but you're in the elements as far as cold.
Reminder, that's big for Ysn because, like, if we're out in the elements and there's even like sprinkles, we have to. But if we're undercover
and water.
Even if wooden press box, if we're undercover, we're good to go.
Technology and water, not the best.
Not the best. Not the best of friends.
No, not at all. Not at all.
We've talked enough. Let's take a break. And when we get back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, we'll have Maddie Taylor, one of the premier players of the Austintown Fit softball team, talking about her senior season, what she expects from it, and a lot more. That is Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Looking for home design inspiration? Don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell, and we are going to be joined now by our first softball player profile of the season. It is senior at Austin Town Fitch, Maddie Taylor. Maddie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
First and foremost, Maddie, let's take a look at your softball career and just kind of reflect on that. First and foremost, where did your love for softball kind of begin? When did you find yourself getting into the sport? And just talk about your journey a little bit up until this point right now.
I first started off, honestly, when I was about probably 3 or 4 years old. My dad, he's a baseball coach at Bobstein Park for the Prospects. And he's been playing he played for a long time, so he kind of got me started. I started playing for the Austin Town League when I was younger, about till I was maybe 8 or 9. And then that's when I first started going into travel ball. My first coach was actually Coach Nate Schick. He's also the head coach at Lakeview. He was my first ever travel coach. He kind of took me in under his wings. And then I went to a different organization and then came back to him, and he's still my coach now. And it's just been the best thing ever. It's just being able to play, and just the support that I have from everybody here at Fitch. Also, being here at Fitch has also been like one of the best experiences. Coach Ward has been a great mentor for me, especially this year, being a leader on the team. He's helped me a lot, kind of really, I don't know how to say this. He's really helped me like learn how to be a leader and just be good for the team. I don't know.
You know, Maddie, you've been a statistical leader for a while with this team, but like you said, this year is the year where you're asked to be more of a vocal leader and more of a senior leader in your senior season. What has that transition been like between, always kind of being counted on in-game situations and for big at-bats and stuff like that, but now you're also asked to just lead in practice and lead on the dugout and lead off the field as well. What's that transition been like?
It's a little different because especially with having Lydia last year, Lydia was our main leader and I was kind of like on the side a little bit leading with her. It's been a big transition for sure. It feels a little more pressure, but I've had a lot of support of like my teammates. Like the other day, I was having a little bit of a struggle like outside of softball, and I come to softball and this was Thursday in the scrimmage against Walsh Jesuit. I went 3 for 3, and then after the game I have Sydney Watts coming up to me and she's like, "Oh, you're just so good. You're like, thank you," because I scored a lot of runs for us. It's just having your teammates' backs and having their support is just like great. And it's been a big transition this year, becoming like our senior captain.
Maddie, let's just talk about Fitch as a community, how much it has meant to you in this high school experience too. What are some teachers that have had kind of a big impact on your life and some ones you want to shout out?
Definitely Coach Ward. He's actually my English teacher right now. Coach Ward has had the biggest impact on me here at Fitch altogether. Just the support from pretty much all of my teachers here at Fitch is just amazing. I'm trying to think some teachers right now. I can't even think right now. Another one, a big main one, even though he's not my teacher, Coach Dan. Him and Coach Ward have been my two biggest mentors here in the Austintown community. They have done everything for me. They've pushed me so hard to get me to where I am, and they just have done an amazing job here in the community, just helping everybody, not only me.
Talking about Coach Dan, I mean, that's a perfect segue because we can't not talk about your work in the weight room and what you do in that weight room, how you've kind of made that Fitch facility your home, and how you've broken so many records. Talk about what it means to you to just kind of have that support in the weight room and to be able to do what you do in there and the hard work being paid off.
Well, that's one of my favorite things is being in the weight room. I just having the support of everyone in there is just amazing. Like, I go back and look at the videos. If people in the background of like my videos of my power cleans or anything like that, like you see the people in the background are just so surprised, and it's like, it just makes me feel good. It's just like, when I first started here, I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, this is gonna be rough. But now I've done it so much, it's like I can't go without it. It's like a habit, and it's just it's like, this is like my home.
Talk to me a little bit about you talked about this kind of community and just some of your goals though that you've had while playing for Fitch, and just what you've been able to accomplish and what you still hope to accomplish with your senior season still ahead of you.
Well, this year, I want to go to states this year. That is my goal this year. And I definitely think it's possible, especially with Sydney this year. She's going to be a huge part of our success this year. Last year, falling short in the district finals, I wanted to get to state last year, but we fell a little short in that district final. Just my biggest goals basically are just to kind of keep everyone together. We have a very strong connection here. That's like the one main thing is we try to keep everybody together, and we want to have like a strong bond. That's another reason why we are so successful, is because we keep that strong bond together.
We got to talk about Sydney a little bit more because people outside of this program that didn't know she was coming along probably saw you guys lose Lydia to Penn State and said, okay, how are they going to replace a D1 caliber pitcher? And here comes Sydney Watts throwing 68 gas. I mean, you've been able to see her develop and see her get to this point, and now you're getting ready to see her dominate on the season. What's it been like just kind of being her teammate, and of course probably going up against her live in practice? And what can you tell us about playing defense behind her?
Oh my God, she is just amazing. Straight out, she is, honestly, her personality, you wouldn't expect it. She is like one of the funniest people, like kind-hearted. She is just amazing, and it's just going, and she works so hard. So it's like going out there and seeing her perform, and just with all of these strikeouts, she's just awesome. It's just so great to have that feeling like we can go far this year again, even though people doubted us, like, oh, you guys aren't going to have somebody this year. Well, we got Sydney now, so.
You see your dad's comment there?
I do see it.
Giving you some love, you know.
Talking about that too, I mean, the power bat's definitely gonna be there, I think, again with the Falcons. Talk about playing in that ballpark though, and this new softball facility that Fitch has been able to have in recent years. What it's been like to kind of be that group that's kind of ushered in this new culture with this new field, and just being able to play in this nice facility too. One of the nicest ones, I think, in the area.
It's honestly so cool. Especially last year, we had our home opener, new field, everything. Baseball and track had home opener at the same time last year. It was just, the atmosphere was just amazing. So it's like we were kind of hoping we were supposed to have a game Saturday here. Obviously, that got canceled, but we were hoping for the same thing. But it's just with all the new things that we've been provided with is just amazing. Like, our boosters have done such a great job for us in building that and just providing us with all these other new things that we get all the time. It's just awesome.
Maddie, you are going to Seton Hill to continue your softball career after you get done at Fitch. We haven't had a chance to talk to you since you broke that news. So tell us real quick, what kind of made that decision easy? What kind of made you fall on Seton Hill, and what went into that decision?
So when I first talked to the coaches, they were just awesome. They were so nice. They were very welcoming. I went on a visit, and I noticed that their softball field was also turf. So I feel like that's more of a little advantage for me, especially being here, going to turf, and then going to go to Seton Hill and play on turf. Also, they had what I wanted to major in, and they have a very smart academic school. They're a very smart academic school, and everything about the school is a beautiful campus. Everything about it is just like perfect. And I get to drive up on that hill.
Go on and shout out your major too. What is it that you're interested in going into after high school?
I'm looking at going into business right now, and then maybe minoring in exercise science.
Maddie, what we also like to do as well, and throughout this whole high school journey, I mean, reflect on being a senior too. What are some things you want to kind of leave with this softball team? What do you want to be remembered by? And with that, also shout out some of your support system along the way.
I just want to keep the keep the strong program that we have going, keep the standard that we have set. I want to see our program improve throughout the years, and especially on social media. Like Coach Ward's done a great job with that. I'm very excited for the future because I know they got some strong people coming up in the future. People to shout out. I really want to shout out my parents, because my parents, they have done a lot for me. And through everything I've gone through, they've always been there, had my back through everything. All my coaches, all my teammates. I want to specifically shout out McKenna Hogan, our catcher here, because she has been with me through thick and thin. She honestly doesn't get enough credit because she is great. She's just one of the best catchers, and just seeing her in practice and work hard, she just does great. She's amazing.
Little Birdie told me that she calls the games herself too.
Sometimes.
It's impressive to do it at all at this level, to be honest. Yeah. Let's have some fun before we leave with you. You got any kind of pregame routines, superstitions that you like to stick to as a softball player that you feel off if you don't have before the game?
Yes. Okay. Putting the right sock on the right foot and the left sock on the left foot. People always switch it up, and I have to have them on the right foot. That is my superstition. And then also having my hair in bubble braids.
So
Or
you
else
have a very specific right sock. Like, this is my right sock, this is my left sock.
yes, so you know how it has like the right and the left on the sock? It has to be on the right foot, or else I won't play good. Fair.
What are some songs that get you hyped up before a game? Do you have like a playlist? What's your playlist sound like?
Okay, I have a playlist. It's an 80s playlist. I listen to it's on Apple Music, 80s, some 80s songs. Which actually I got an old song as my walk-up song. I got Beat It by Michael Jackson.
Okay, so is that the answer to this next question? If I ask you what the one song is that will get you hyped up for an at bat, no matter what the situation is that your go-to?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. Another one that is kind of weird that gets me hyped up is "Kiss Me Through the Phone." It's kind of weird, but that one gets me really hyped up. I'm not gonna lie.
Whatever rocks for you. I've seen walk-up songs with like Backstreet Boys, and I've seen Michael Jackson. So whatever gets you ready to go hit bombs, no judgment here.
My playlist is all weird.
What about last one before you go? What about post-game meal? What's the go-to spot after a big win to get in your belly?
My mom's food. My mom always got something good cooked at home. She's usually got grilled chicken at home with some veggies and some rice. That's my go-to. Definitely.
Nothing like home cooking, right?
Yep.
All right, Maddie, we wish you the best of luck this year. We can't wait to cover you. Hopefully tomorrow. We're chopping at the bit at this softball season. We know Mother Nature is trying to keep us from it. Good luck all season, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maddie Taylor, senior leader of Austin Town Fitch, joining us on Running Point. First of many player profiles that we'll have throughout the spring sports season.
Yep, no doubt, and we're always excited too. I think that's got to be the question too for some of these people: is what's the walk-up song? Like, what do you?
Fitch is blessed that they have the ability to have a walk-up song because they have the PA, they have the cool PA system. Some fields don't have that, but Fitch got it, and I guess hers is "Beat It" by Michael Jackson.
True. There's some more love, Steve Hogan.
Yeah, I mean he's him and McKenna and Maddie are just kind of the heartbeat of that team, I think. And when you see all the credit that Cindy Watts is going to get this year, don't forget that she has a pretty good battery mate in McKenna Hogan back there. Sometimes calling pitches. We'll give her some credit. We'll give the coaching staff credit too, but a lot of coaches don't even trust our catchers to call any pitches. So to be able to call a game and to be able to have the softball IQ to know what batters are struggling with and know, okay, this is a hole in some of their swings and I'm going to call this pitch. I want to see it more in high school because a lot of college coaches ask their catchers to call their own games. So I like to see it more in high school, but Fitch definitely is doing it right.
Yeah, I love seeing it too. I mean, it's very very fun watching these kids come up with the walk-up songs because it helps pump it up, and I feel like walk-up songs definitely add to the sport of baseball too. I love the walk-up songs.
I kind of like the walk-up songs that like are there for the comedic value. Like they're there because they're not typical walk-up songs. Like one of the Akron Racers had "I Want It That Way" by Backstreet Boys. Like that's not your typical walk-up song. It doesn't have like a great beat. It's just like a boys band ballad. But because it was off the beaten path, the whole Firestone Stadium kind of rocked to it every time it came on, and you knew for sure that was that person's walk-up song.
It's just it's just like a little 15 to 30-second soundbite of just music, and I think it's music that people. There's going to be groups of people that like it too, and they change it up. I like it.
And every year, because we go on softball trips. So every year there's that one song that's like, this is the popular walk-up song of the year. And I wonder what it's going to be this year. Last time we went on a softball trip, it was High Hopes. You heard A lot of players have High Hopes by Panic at the Disco as a walk-up song. So I'm wondering this year we're taking another softball trip in April. So I'm wondering what the big walk-up song in the softball world is going to be this year.
Would you say you have high hopes for it?
High hopes for a living. I think so.
What would you say? You better quit singing it, Anthony. With as good as you're doing it right now, we
I
might
didn't
get
even sing that
copyright
one.
infringements.
I'm not even gonna sing that one. Panic at the Disco. They go way too hard. I wouldn't do that to him.
Way too hard for you, Ant.
He's got one of those like falsetto rock voices. I'm not gonna even touch that. No
You'd
way.
probably blow your vocal cords
I
out.
just dropped the lyrics and that's all I was doing.
You tore your rotator cuff sleeping, so you'd probably.
It wasn't sleep. The rotator cuff was a chronic thing that I get from constantly using my shoulders.
I thought you said you told me you got it from.
I woke up one day and it hurt, but it wasn't like I was sleeping. Oh, I tore it.
You tore your rotator cuff.
It was a lifetime of using the shoulder way more than humanity is intended to use
You turned 30, tore your rotator cuff when you woke up.
I walk with my shoulders. I push the wheelchair with the shoulders. Basically, human bodies were not built to have cerebral palsy. Go figure.
It was just the way you said it too. Like I woke up.
I woke up one morning. I reached up to get a shirt out of my closet, and it hurt like all nothing. It was just like oh, and the way it was moving, my dad's like, "Hey, that's probably a rotator cuff. Thank God it wasn't torn." But that's the personal update on Anthony Hartwig's medical life, I guess. Since time brought it up.
That was my update I got.
It was not torn, but it was. What the doctor said it was acutely inflamed. So
now,
good thing it wasn't. If it was torn, I would have need surgery, and that like me down one arm and two legs. That's not good.
I was gonna say Anthony Hartwig was on injured reserve list. He battled back. He got stronger, and there he is.
If I had to be down for surgery, I would be like, there was nothing I could do. I couldn't even get around the house without an arm. I'd be done.
Coach Ward giving us some love too, and giving Maddie Taylor some love while at it. Coach Ward does a phenomenal job with not only his social media presence, but I mean just his support all around of all of his student athletes and his students in general. I mean, great teacher and coach over there at Austintown. Fitch got a chance to see him when he was a teacher and when I was there, and I mean just seeing him. I mean,
journalism, right? He runs the paper there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's always been huge on it. I didn't do the journalism aspect because I was the paper writing side. I was in the media side of things with Cardillo, but I did know Ward, and he's always been a great.
All right, Mr. Teacher of Journalism class. That means on your VNN updates, I expect a really well written story for the softball games. All right.
VNN.
Putting you on
You're
notice.
really hoping.
I'll be watching the VNN updates for Fitch. They better be like grade A stories, because if you're teaching it, you better shell them out.
Mr. Teacher. Oh man, Coach Ward. Anthony wants full written paper.
He does a tremendous job with that team. I think the culture of Fitch has been dramatically changed. And, it might roll people's eyes, but I think the presence that it has on social media because of the work that Steve Ward does builds people up. People know it every day what's going on in Fitch softball, whether it be off-season work in the weight room, whether it be their scrimmages. You are never not updated on what is going on in that program because he does a great job keeping that social media updated.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to see that Fitch gets that kind of support too, and I'm really happy to see these kind of coaches take in these social media presences, and we see it with a lot too, not just Fitch. A lot of these schools have some great social media presences, and I think it's crucial for these kids, and it's crucial for the fans too, because that's how we get updates now. You get updates on schedule changes and where things are, and
they're gonna be really important during spring season because these updates are gonna come quick.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't have the rolling thing to tell us, games and days that have been canceled on the news because of winter sports. They don't have that for rainouts.
Right. Yeah, because you're not canceling school for rain.
Yeah.
Sorry, kids.
They're just canceling.
Still going to school.
So you got to figure out which games are canceled and which games aren't, because some games can play if there's rain that day. Some games can't.
Ty, I guess it's a perfect segue since we had Manny Taylor on and we've been talking about Coach Ward. You wanted to talk about some conferences. Let's go right into that AAC for softball, and it's going to be a great AAC. I think a lot of people think it's Fitch's conference and they're going to run away with it because Sydney Watts is doing what she's doing, and obviously they've won it 2 years in a row. But you'll look at Boardman; they bring back a lot of players from last year, and they split with Fitch. Canfield has a lot of young talent, and Toth is coming back for her sophomore season in the circle. So Canfield, Fitch, Boardman, those three are enough. But then you have Hallen sitting there with a really pretty decent roster. It's going to be our first season covering Hallen softball, so we're going to get introduced to a lot of those names. But you're going to see a lot of competitiveness in the AAC. It's not going to be Fitch running away with it every game and everyone just trying to chase the Falcons. I think it's going to be very competitive, and you might see some teams split with Fitch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because right now I think it is Fitch's to lose, and it's going to be everyone else kind of chasing it from the start. But I agree with you. I think Boardman has a phenomenal chance. I think Canfield is the wild card. I think in this one. I'm not sure exactly with Howling because, like you said, we didn't cover him a whole lot last year. I've seen him a little bit with the AAC, and I think they usually have solid baseball and softball programs. It's Howland sports, so I mean I don't expect anything. I think Howland's a wild card in this one as well. And Harding, I feel like they struggled a little bit last year, but the thing is, you see so much 1 year progression from players too. So you were struggling a little bit last year. They had some younger players. Those players develop, or even some of the sophomores, the juniors, the seniors. Maybe the swing got cleaner. Maybe they're making more contact. I mean, all it takes is a year, honestly, in this sport to really see huge gaps and valleys and mountains and peaks and all those things in this sport with your swing and the way you're hitting the ball, the way you're pitching, the way you're fielding. So Harding could be thrown in it. It's always competitive. It seems like on both sides. Softball, though, I think it's going to be fun.
That's the great thing about this sport, though, is even the teams that are quote unquote less talented, if you come and you can't swing that day or your pitches aren't getting located well, anyone can beat anybody. Literally. I mean, this sport is more fickle than any other sport. So if you just come and you're not hitting your spots all of a sudden, or you're struggling, commanding your pitches, anyone can kind of take advantage of a pitch left over the plate, right? Anybody can hit that. So it's so fickle, and even a team like Warren Harding that hasn't been competitive in a couple of years can throw a monkey wrench into any season at any given day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, honestly, looking at what these teams schedule out of conference is going to be huge to see how they perform in conference too.
Yeah, and you look at team Boardman and Fitch and I believe Canfield are all Division I, so they have to schedule way up to get ready for tournament because, like in every other sport, Division I in that district is an animal. They're going to have to deal with North Canton Hoover. They're going to have to deal with Massillon Perry. Basically, the whole Federal League will be in that district somewhere. So, and Federal League softball is no joke at all, by the way. So, yeah, they're going to have to schedule up to get ready for that tournament. And Fitch does a good job of that. I know Boardman does a good job of that. They're playing a little bit more local, but there are a lot of local teams that are really good this year that'll have pitching that's equal to what they're going to see in the tournament. So, it'll be great. When Boardman and Fitch play each other, that's going to be Maddie Lester against Sydney Watts, and that's going to be a straight-up pitcher's duel, and you'll have the freshman phenom on Fitch's side versus the senior season leader on Boardman's side. Both of them will play at the next level. I mean, Sydney Watts, it's only a matter of time before we find out where she's going to go. In fact, 2 years worth, because you can't do that until you're a junior now in softball. There was a day where you could commit in 7th grade, which was silly, but you could.
Yeah.
Now you can't commit until your junior year, so it'll be 2 years. But we are going to find out that Sydney Watts is going to play in college, and then Maddie Lester already committed. So it's going to be a really fun matchup when those two teams square up. The lineups are pretty similar. They both have speed at the top. Dana Haas is a great leadoff hitter for Boardman. You got Ayla Ray usually at the top of that Fitch lineup that gives them kind of a high on base percentage, speed on the base pass. And then you got like power hitters, Maddie Taylor, Jenna Alexa, a lot of just good single hitters that get on base. Nadia Rwana for Boardman. You got Caitlin Mitchell for Fitch. they almost mirror each other in the skill sets that everyone has. It's going to be a great matchup between Fitch and Boardman, and I can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be
if you can't tell, like
those games could be determining the conference too, and that's going to be exciting. And then you look and flip that conference over onto the baseball side. I feel like again it's Campfield's to lose, but you see what Boardman, you see what Fitch is going to bring to the table, and hey, they both I think are wild cards and kind of are looking right there. But Howland baseball program is never a slouch either, and I think Howland's right there as well. And Harding is kind of a wild card, I think, because Harding was competitive last year, and I think they're going to be competitive again this year. They'll be a wild card, but I think it's right now Boardman, Fitch, and Howland chasing Canfield, but I think any one of them can make that step up and surprise some people.
There are huge names in the AAC for baseball on every team. It's the ones that YSN covers. I don't know the names for Warren Harding, so excuse me, but like Anthony Masucci on Howland's team, that's a big name. Then you got Fitch has Joe Roth. That's a huge name in the baseball scene. And then for Boardman, you have Treveri, who's a big name in the baseball scene. Then, of course, Canfield has, pick one.
Petro, Idle Shoes.
But I mean, every team in that AAC has a really big name that's going to be talked about a lot in the baseball scene this season.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm excited to see what the pitching is going to offer in this one, because there's going to be a lot of pitchers duels and a lot of pitching matchups we're going to see, because both Fitch and Howland I think have some pretty decent depth. I think Boardman does too. So I mean, even seeing the 2s versus 3s or 2s versus 2s or 3s versus 1s are going to be fun matchups, I think.
And there's going to be an inevitable thing with these schedules getting changed where maybe one team has to throw their 3, another team gets to throw their 1, and that could just, open the door a little bit for an upset. You never know. These schedules can change the pitching matchups that we are expected to see. If you're expected to play this team Monday, and it's supposed to be basically 1 versus 1, but your game, you have a game scheduled for Tuesday, let's say, and the other team doesn't, and that Monday game gets moved to Wednesday, all of a sudden the other team moves that 1 to Wednesday, but you have to throw your 1 on Tuesday. So you're sitting there with your 2 versus their 1. It's a lot of moving parts.
Coach Ward chiming in too with the softball side of things for Howland too, and Maddie Hufford and Brooke Tartar, catcher and pitcher combo from Howland.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate that so much.
As Coach Ward, knowing well playing in that conference, who the teams and players to watch out for are.
I believe Sydney Watts has a travel teammate on Howland's team, if I'm not mistaken, because I saw her tweet like yesterday. Love you, but 5-2-5-3, it's on. So obviously, they're not going to pull any punches when they play each other on the field.
And I mean, it's gonna be so fun watching Sydney Watts progress through this sport too, and just seeing her take her first steps into freshman varsity softball now.
Well, but after seeing the scrimmages, like any question about whether or not she'd be ready for this level or what she would do against big, strong lineups, that has been erased, because she went up against North Canton Hoover, who's a district championship lineup in Division I. She went up against South Range, which is a state runner-up lineup that has 7 players back from last year. Pretty much went right through them. Walsh Jesuit right through them. So a lot of teams that have really good lineups Sydney Watts has been ready for.
Brings up an interesting conversation, and it was one I was talking with Brandon McPherson BMAC the other day about, and he brought up the idea of, because I think Tennessee and Kentucky does it, 7th and 8th graders being allowed to be called up to the JV and varsity level. Football and soccer excluded from sports.
See, here's the question. When you do that, you still only get 4 years of eligibility, right? So you're not giving them an extra year of.
That's actually a good question, and it's not one I asked, because the one question I was asking, I was concerned on the injury aspect of it, because if you're going to have 7th and 8th graders play, but he did bring up the fact, because there are in baseball, softball, I think you'd see it a little bit more. There are 7th and 8th graders I think that can compete at a varsity.
Let's be honest, there are some special arms that we've seen come through the area that would have been plenty ready in 8th grade to go up against varsity lineups.
I think so as well, and it brings up an interesting conversation because it depends on what sports. Because I was thinking about other sports you could do that. Because wrestling, I feel like weight classes take care of that. If it's like an 8th grader going up against anything, because like football was the one I think I was most worried about.
You don't want football.
You can't.
You probably don't want basketball either. Basketball would be kind of iffy. There are some players I see, but most of the players that even the players that run the show in middle school take about a month or 2 to kind of get their feet wet in that varsity level when they're a freshman. It's just the speed of the game really speeds up for varsity baseball.
I don't know. It's like it depends on like you're right about the years of eligibility, and that's a good question. I feel like it's obviously it has to be at coach's discretion, and coach has to use like good judgment. And I feel like it would definitely help. I think smaller schools in some cases too keep numbers up to field a team. And I think that
would be the big reason, but I don't think you give them an extra year of eligibility. I think you have to sacrifice that to kind of say, like, we don't have enough high schoolers right now to field the team, but we have like 3 8th graders that are varsity level ready or even JV level ready that we can bring up. Yes, it'll cost them a year, but it's either that or we don't have a team this year. That would be the kind of the conversation I think would be happening.
It would be hard too.
But then you wonder because it's like they can't play their senior season or they have
unless you let them play and then the stats just don't count until you are officially freshmen.
The wins count, and that's when they take off all the people that have like. Can you imagine if I'm just trying to pick out like a pitcher like Aaron Gabriel just for Poland.
You would have to put a cap.
If you had to play her for 5 years instead of 4.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You would, I don't know. There's different ways to flip that though, because you don't want to just stop them from playing sports
if
too.
If those champion pitchers got a year in 8th grade, like they would have won 4 state championships in a row.
You would have to put a cap on, I think, how many how many players you could call up from that level. It's an interesting conversation though, because I feel like if you're allowing the 7th and 8th graders to come up, I feel like there's ways like I said, if you're not registering stats, so that way they can't start breaking all these school records starting in 7th and 8th grade.
Worried as much about stats as I would like I said, like you're getting an extra year where you're going to be dominant, and it's like if you're going to give them 5 years instead of 4 and my guys get 4 years, but that's because I just have more numbers than you.
I would think there would need to be a rule along the lines of there needs to be a cap for how many you can do.
Here's an idea,
though. There also needs to be a rule like if there's high school eligibility.
Just like foreign exchange students or transfers in, it affects your competitive balance number.
You could do that. You could do that because what I was going to also say is if there's players that you can't bring up an 8th grader over a freshman that is willing to play. Like, I feel like if you're doing it strictly for numbers, you can't. Like, if you have freshmen that are trying out or sophomores that are trying out for the team, you can't say, I'm taking this 8th grader over a sophomore that's trying out for the team.
You can't go up to that freshman and be like, sorry, kid.
You're cut. I'm taking an 8th grader. Like, you can't use that 8th grader over somebody else that's already in high school.
You can have that secret. It get kind of shady because there are coaches in Ohio or coaches in the country, not in YSN, but there are coaches that exist that would be like, "Hey kid, maybe you shouldn't play this year." And then all of a sudden,
on the other side of it, I want to get Brandon McPherson on it because Brandon McPherson is four, I think, bringing up the 8th and 7th graders. So
it's a deep conversation. There's a lot of questions about it. I mean, it's not something that you can just say, I'm 4, and then all of a sudden, but it opens up like the Pandora's box.
It does. I feel like the only way, like I get it for like small school standards, and I feel like if it was like I told him, I don't think I'd have a problem with it if it was to field a team. Like if you're a baseball team with 8 guys, you need one more. I feel like if you're able to swing it to get an 8th grader up there too, but like that's the thing though, is like you would have to make sure, like I don't know, like you said, Anthony, eligibility thing becomes a topic too, or you could treat them like foreign exchange students and have that count towards that. But I mean, I think there's different.
Okay, Chris, but there's a big reason why we don't let 13-year-olds drive a car. They're not putting other people's lives in danger when they're playing basketball. Let's.
Chris with this
bad metaphor, Chris. I appreciate the opinion and I agree with it. It would be a coach's nightmare, but I don't want to equate it to, well, let's just let a 13-year-old drive. Because if you're playing basketball, you're not putting other people's lives.
Do you
in danger.
agree though that if in small school scenarios, do you see it being an idea that could work to help schools field a team for high school?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you went to a coach with a program, let's say they're gonna have 4 players come out, they're just not gonna have a program. It's impossible to field a program. And you saw their 8th grade program, and you said you have 8th graders that are ready to play in high school physically. They can do it. You can watch them on tape. You know they're doing it, and you bring them up. Then I don't know a coach that would say, well, I don't want to do that. I would rather not have a season.
That's what I'm saying. I just wonder what you get
the
from
amount of programs that are in that situation are very small. I feel like there aren't a lot of programs that are like. There aren't a lot of programs that are literally going to be like, we have nobody that can play, and our only option is to bring up players from 8th grade.
That's a good question too. What's the definition of small school? I mean, I feel like, I guess for everyone,
I feel like any school can be in that situation though, where their numbers are just down for one reason or another.
Yeah, I mean, true. And that's kind of what I mean. It could be different from everyone else's.
I mean,
too. If you're talking small school, like overall numbers standpoint, I don't know. I kind of feel like that's what I'm kind of
low Division 3, high Division 4.
Yeah, like your lower small schools that don't have a lot of student.
I'm not gonna. I don't want to call out names, for schools but Division 4.
Yeah, your lower, your smaller Division 4 schools. I mean, sometimes year to year struggle with participation.
But
I mean,
this would get dangerous in I think the baseball, softball sports, because then we would have coaches looking at their 8th grade team like that meme where the guy's walking away with his girlfriend, but he's looking back at the girl and it's always like, make it, that would be the high school coach walking away with his freshman class, but looking back at his 8th grade class.
The only that's why I said I feel like it would have to be in certain case scenarios, and it would have to be in cases where it's like, we can't field a team unless we do this, because like I said, it's like, and if you have like freshmen and sophomores that are willing to try out,
how easy it is to work around that though. Like if you just have a conversation with that freshman and sophomore and just be like, do you really want to play? And then they kind of say they don't want to play, and then all of a sudden you're just like, okay, we're good, and you have your stud in 8th grade come up for a year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, you'd have to do a lot of conversations then, I feel like, because because you got to think about how many people aren't fielding teams, right?
I think you give humanity a little bit too much credit. There
would obviously, I would think, have to be rules in there with like tampering.
I think it would be really hard to police that.
Yeah, but you don't think in modern age with like social media, you don't think kids would say something or mention something and that would get out and then that becomes a whole thing, and then there's investigations that could get launched into it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like in the social media age, if someone were to tell you that like you can't part, or like you don't want to play this sport, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
you want to just be good.
You might not give credit to humanity, but I give credit to intelligence of the students of today. I feel like they can read that as a message as, coach just taught me how to trying to play the sport. And they can definitely tell someone.
How many kids in that situation where like we're talking kids that are just kind of just playing to be there. They're just playing to have fun with their buddies. They're not thinking of basketball as something that they want to like pursue. I feel like they wouldn't be that hard to convince to not play. And
but I feel like all it takes is one kid saying something though, and then it could become something big. I don't know. Like you said, there's a whole lot of other doors, I feel like, and avenues to this, and it's not just a single lane road like we're looking at, because there's so many other questions that come up when you try to bring this topic up. But it was an extensive conversation me and BMAC had the other day, and I wanted to bring it up.
The idea falls into, like I said, those programs, and there aren't too many of them, but the programs that are literally out of options and they're not going to have a high school program, but they're looking around, they say, we have a lot of kids in our 8th grade program. Do we really want to just say we're not going to have a program this year and wait for next year? Or can we bring up some of those 8th grade kids just so we can have a program this year? That would be like the one and that's a gray area because then you set a precedent for what you can do in the future when you do that. But that would be the big question.
Julian Newman, I think he's from Florida. I think he played varsity. Yeah, I think Mike Bardo's coming in with that too. Varsity basketball in fourth grade. I mean, certain states they kind of. I know Kentucky and Tennessee. I looked into it a little more after Brandon McPherson mentioned it too, and they do. It just excludes football and soccer. I think for
and I don't know about the state of Tennessee, but I because I have cousins that go in the high school and we're in high school athletes for Kentucky. There aren't a lot of schools in Kentucky. That's why they have one state championship. They don't have divisions like we do. It's pretty much one state championship for basketball. So like that's it. You got the one state championship for the state.
A little bit more bigger schools than your typical D4, but they're just spread out further. Just more kids go to one area school.
Right. Because there's like Lexington, Louisville, and they have a lot of high schools, but then the rural areas don't. So there just aren't that. There's not that big range of big schools, small schools. There's just a lot of big schools, and then the small schools, you get the bad luck that you have to go compete against big schools for state tournaments.
Sucks. If you're from Kentucky, sucks.
Sucks to suck. Yeah.
We'll throw a couple more of
which makes it like even more enticing to be like, hey, we have a stud in 8th grade. We have to compete with Coventry Catholic down the road. Why don't we just bring that 8th grade up? Okay, we can do it because it's Kentucky.
It's like, that's why you got to give the small schools a chance. If you have an 8th grade stud, screw it. We're getting them for 5 years since you guys are a big school and we have to compete against you for state championships. We get this guy for 7 years then if we want him. Screw you. Kentucky's like wild, wild west still.
There's no governing body at all. They can do whatever they want.
There's just a trophy that stands in the middle of the state.
Everyone go.
And it's just a gauntlet for the season to see who can get to it. They don't even have officials. It's just all like old school sports gentlemen.
Call your own fouls.
Yeah, they all call their own. Oh my god. That'd be incredible.
Excuse me. But yeah. Kentucky is a different animal.
I feel like it's so hard though, because state by state basis, like you even said, like the governing bodies, the way they do it, the way they have state championships, it's like it's so different state to state. So it's hard to just say, well, Kentucky's doing it, let's adopt this. It's because there's more than, like I said, there's more than one avenue to go through.
Pennsylvania's model is a lot different than ours.
Yeah, and they're
all you
there.
have to do is look a little bit to your east and be like, oh, those guys, 20 miles to the east are doing a lot different than we are.
And that's a great point, and that's a great topic too. And you look at Michigan too. Michigan's is different as well. And
you look at Georgia and Colorado have different seasons. So like their softball season's in the fall.
That's
not
crazy.
In the spring.
That's weird. That
always throws me off because I follow a lot of high school softball players just to keep an eye on like who colleges are recruiting and stuff like that.
And you're watching
and I see so many of them like I'm about to start high school season and it's like volleyball season for me. And I'm like, what are you talking? Oh, right. You're in Georgia. And that's where high school starts in the
you're in like football and volleyball mode and you're seeing softball.
Baseball's in the spring, but softball's in the fall.
They split it up kind of like tennis is up here. Because tennis is split up.
Boys tennis is spring, girls is fall. I think that's the way it goes.
I believe so. I think
either way, they're opposites.
Which is odd. Which is odd to have those at opposite ends. I don't know why sports do that. I feel like if you're gonna play kind of like gender neutral sports, I guess is the way you say it now, with the boys girls, because I'm boys girls basketball, baseball, softball, not the same sport, but similar enough to coincide with each other.
Right. And can you imagine if like girls basketball was at a different time?
That's what I was saying. Like that's what I guess for an example. Girls basketball is like in the fall or in the spring, and boys is in the winter.
Right.
Like, why would you? why just have the sports together? I
So
don't
they
know.
can have their own. So they don't have to compete with the boys' basketball time.
I don't know though. Is like the tennis schedule more like rigorous as far as like the need for courts, and is that an
Well,
issue? I don't know.
I know a lot of teams play at the Salem courts. This is kind of like the one facility we have. So, not the one, but it's one facility we have that a lot of teams kind of go and play at.
That might be the issue
But
then.
then there are schools that have their own tennis courts. Poland has tennis courts. United has tennis courts.
Tennis courts are one of the fairly easier things to make too. For like a school can make a tennis court. You just got to lay some concrete, draw some lines, and put up a net. Like it's not.
I'm sure Ty just oversimplified a little bit.
I oversimplified it a little bit.
I feel like, see, I'm not a tennis expert, but I feel like the surface isn't straight concrete. Like they have to.
It's not. I mean, it's not exact concrete.
I don't know what that material is that lines a tennis court.
But I mean, I feel like it's not, because it also doesn't take up a whole lot of space. So it's like I've seen a lot of smaller schools have tennis courts. Is what I more or less
got one down in Hanoverton. They've got their own tennis facility.
So
and
I mean,
usually you have to make like 3 or 4 courts so you can have matches go on at the same time. So you're not like, hey, here's our, because
do they utilize
you got like 6 singles matches in one match, so you got to have 4 going on at once, or else it's going to take forever to get through.
I just wonder if all these smaller schools use their tennis courts to host varsity games, or if those are just practice courts. You know what I mean?
I think United has tennis at their own. Chris Ziegler would probably know,
because like Cheney has a football field at the school, but that's a practice field. It's not technically.
So does Mooney. Mooney practices at the school.
Yeah, Mooney has a practice field, but they have a field at the school. So like, I didn't know if that's the case with tennis too. But anyway,
that's something that we'll learn because we're going to start. Tennis is not a sport that we're just going to turn the light off and say, "Good luck. We're not going to cover you." I mean, we'll have tennis.
We'll be highlighting them and track and field stars.
Track and field. So
great in the area.
But like wrestling, it's something that we are open to learn about. So we're presenting these questions, and hopefully we can get someone on to intelligently answer the ones that we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look forward to this upcoming spring season, and this is definitely a topic and discussion as far as allowing 8th graders and 7th graders eligibility. It's something we can definitely research. I'd love to get BMAC either in the comment section or something to kind of shed some more light on this.
BMAC hasn't commented on our show since football season. Where you at, B?
I need to get him
we
on.
Miss you, buddy. Get back on our comments.
I'm going to message him and tell him he needs to be on the comments to kind of help us with this conversation with where some of just get some of his opinions on it and where
give us a Wyndham baseball and softball preview.
Yeah, there we go. Let
us know what we should expect in our first year of covering Wyndham baseball and softball. We are very excited to have Bombers baseball and softball as part of YSN.
Bombers, hoping they hit bombs this season.
Like if you could pick one name for a baseball and softball team, Bombers, man. You better have a power lineup with that name.
Anthony's like, you better be signing the best. There's only one other Bombers, and it's the Bronx.
That's like having if your school name was the Hoopers for basketball, you better be able to hoop.
Anthony's watching.
The Shooters. Yeah, we're the Shooters. Yeah, well,
Anthony's the team name police. You better be exemplifying what you are. You a clipper? You better be clipping.
You better be clapping your way.
Anthony goes into South Range. Why is nobody rating this gym?
Hey, guys, where's your eye patch? Come on.
You just come in full-blown pirate gear, ready to take over the gym.
Sparrow,
oh my God. You're the name police, Anthony. You just roll on in.
Hey, it's $5 to get into this game. What do you say to $10? You forget the name.
You just have a gold tooth now, and nobody knows why. Oh man.
You
that's
cheated.
your episode.
Pirate.
Anthony rated South Range. That's what
That's it.
That's it. It's over.
You never expected a pirate in a wheelchair to come and raid you, but
a pirate in a wheelchair.
that happened. So maybe I could like put like a cardboard pirate ship cutout on my wheelchair.
Oh
and
my god!
Come in with the
Tomorrow's
ship.
show. You're in a ship. You got to do that like football season. Like if you're going hard to pick like South Range on a football game, like
I always wanted to like swing out from the balcony at a South Range game and the Raiders get up.
you have like the water like on the wheels, so it just looks like waves are moving with the wheels too. That would be pretty cool. That needs to be like a Halloween costume.
At least the sophomores at South Range have to build a boat out of cardboard and put it on a lake as part of their English class. So at least they're having to build boats.
You got to have a functional boat.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be functional. You just have to do it. To make
you on the lake.
Like, it's okay if it sinks. In fact, they encourage sinking. You get a Titanic award if you sink.
Titanic award. That's awesome.
Ours did not sink though. We made it through.
The Titanic award.
We made a football themed pickup truck and floated across that lake. Shout out to the Raider Regatta.
Anthony's like, it's the greatest voyage we've seen since Lewis and Clark.
I hope we don't hit an iceberg. And with that, we're going to say goodbye on Running Point for the day because we've just lost all hope. all hope. This show
I'm hopeful after 22 hours we'll be back with another great installment of Running Point.
Hopefully tomorrow it'll be warm enough to talk about some games and we'll get some picks in and we'll have a normal spring Running Point for you tomorrow from 12 to 2. But like Ty said, we're going to take a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour from 3 to 4. And no games tonight, but hopefully games tomorrow. And we will see you then. Have a good evening.